Welcome to the fourth episode of the Haunted Mario podcast. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the launch of the Haunted Mario website, as well as my thoughts on the Charlie Charlie challenge, which has become very popular on Facebook and other social media sites lately. And finally, I'll discuss my up-and-coming guest appearance on My Darkest Hour, hosted by Stefan Brigatti on liveparanormal.com. So let's get this started here. First up is the launch of the Haunted Mario website that is found on hauntedmario.com, where you can find this podcast and all previous episodes of the podcast, as well as links to my YouTube channel where you can find more videos on evidence that we've captured in past investigations. There's also a link directly to the Haunted Orange County website, where you can look at our latest ghost tours and paranormal investigation events. Right now we are hosting a 50% off discount on all ghost tours for the months of July and August. It's a great summer special if you're interested in downtown Orange or downtown Santa Ana and learning some of the haunted history, as well as checking out some of the haunted locations that are purported to have paranormal activity out there. Go ahead and check out the website and get your tickets while they last. Alright, so let's move on to the first feature of the Haunted Mario website, and that is the Paranormal Files section. This is going to be a page where I post basically evidence, little feedback, comments on our latest investigations, any evidence that we caught, visual, audio, anything like that. That will be posted on those with small descriptions and pictures of the locations, as well as some of the history that's there. Currently, the only page that's up for Paranormal Files is the Virginia City Paracon that was hosted by Douglas Carnahan out in Virginia City, Nevada, that we had a couple months ago. So, go ahead and check that out. Some really cool evidence that we captured there, and those are posted there on that page. Alright, so the next page I want to talk about is pretty important. It's a page that I call Nerve Center. What I've done is I've compiled sort of a database or paranormal encyclopedia-ish type page, per se, so that anyone that is curious about different types of paranormal activity can go onto this page and read up on some of the descriptions, definitions of certain terms that we use in the paranormal field. It's a great source of information for those that are unfamiliar with the paranormal world, or just a well of information for those that just want to learn more about the paranormal world, what it has to offer, some of the dangers. I cover everything from basic electronic voice phenomenon to hitchhiking ghosts to angels, demons, demonic possession, all kinds of information that is very helpful in this field for those that want to empower themselves with that knowledge. Go ahead and check out that page. It's a lot of information and some pretty cool pictures to go along with them as well. So that is called Nerve Center. You just click on the page and you can see everything you need to learn, at least as far as basic to intermediate to some advanced knowledge in the paranormal world. And the next page I want to talk about is a page called Paratech. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's tech that we use in the paranormal world. It covers everything from flashlights to EVP recorders to IR to thermal and geophones, REM pods, all kinds of different devices that are used in the paranormal field to subsequently try to capture evidence of paranormal activity. I also go into a separate sub-page where I talk about the different non-electronic paranormal gear that you can take with you on paranormal investigations. Not everything that you use in a paranormal investigation will be an electronic device. Sometimes some of the most practical gear can be used to communicate with spirits, ghosts, phantoms, whatever you want to call them. But some of them are effective, and some of these pieces of gear I believe are very necessary to always take with you, not just from a paranormal perspective, but for means of safety for yourself and your group, whoever you may be investigating with. So check out that page. Again, lots of great information there, as well as pictures, accompanied with every description and so on. Alright, so that covers those pages, but that doesn't mean that's all I have on the website. So there are plenty of other pages that you can check out, including Supernatural Spotlight, which will be a monthly feature that will put a spotlight on a specific haunted location anywhere in the world. It could be a well-known haunted spot or a not so well-known haunted spot, but they all share one thing in common: they're all haunted. So another featured page is called Creature Feature, and just as the title indicates, this is basically a spotlight or a feature of a cryptid or mythical creature or monster that is basically considered paranormal. People out there trying to find, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, they're all the same thing, but essentially this page will feature that monster for all you monster maniacs out there that like to look up that kind of stuff. I also have a page called The Vault, which will be a monthly roundup of the top 3 news stories in the paranormal world. So check that out as well. This month's features are the Poltergeist film, the Charlie Challenge, which I'll be discussing here in a little bit, and Bill Nye the Science Guy's view on extraterrestrial life. So check that page out. There are some links to some pretty cool articles there regarding those 3 topics, and take a look and feed your mind with some more information. Alright, and the last page that I want to talk about is called Ghost Rider. And not as in Ghost Rider, the comic hero or anti-hero with a flaming skull. No, this is called Ghost Writer. In other words, it's essentially a page that will feature blogs, writings that are not necessarily regarding the paranormal, but deal with just creative writing in general. I'll put some of my work up there, as well as other famous authors' works there that I think are pretty interesting and good reads. I'll also include from time to time some of your ghost stories that you may submit to me. I have launched a Facebook page for hauntedmario.com as well. So if you want to check that out, you can just go to the hauntedmario.com website. There is a link that says Facebook. Just click on that. It'll take you right to the Facebook page. Or if you'd like, you can go to facebook.com/hauntedmariohq. Just click like to follow the page, and I will post daily things about the paranormal. Some might be funny memes, others might be other stories in the paranormal world that I don't feature on the website. A lot of good content there, including links to the podcast and new features on the page, updates and events and all that kind of stuff. So check out that page as well, give it a like, and you can get more information on the Haunted Mario website and all the things that I do in the paranormal world. Okay, so that basically covers all of the current pages that I have up on the hauntedmario.com website. So check that out. It's a well of knowledge, a lot of cool features, evidence, everything that I've discussed already. Check out that page and explore. So let's get on to our second topic of the day. It's a very popular trend lately, mostly among teenagers and kids. This weird trend called the Charlie Challenge, in which essentially kids take a sheet of paper and they draw a cross so that it's basically 4 squares on the page, or 4 quadrants on the page, and on each adjacent quadrant, they'll write the words no and yes. So essentially diagonally from each other, you have yes and yes and no and no. And then they'll take two pencils or pens and they'll put them in a cross. One pen or pencil will be horizontal and the other will be vertical on top of it, trying to keep it balanced. And the idea is that they call upon this spectral entity, ghost, spirit, phantom, demon, whatever you want to call it. They call upon this thing and basically ask it, Charlie, Charlie, are you here with us? And the idea is that the top pen or pencil is supposed to turn in the direction of the response that it's going to give, either yes or no. It's in my opinion, it's pretty stupid and mostly fake because it's very, very simple to duplicate results over and over again. I mean, the slightest exhale that you let out when you speak can make the pen or pencil move. So the results are always going to be contaminated. It's essentially like a really brief modern Ouija board, which I've never used and I don't intend on ever using. They can be manipulated too easily. So as far as the Charlie Charlie challenge goes, not something I'm ever going to try. Recording devices and video cameras, everything, every piece of equipment has some sort of flaw to it that skeptics will always try to pick at, including myself, because I always review my evidence and I'm skeptical about it, and I try to find means to explain away as much as I can, but when I come back with solid evidence that can't be explained by other logical means, then that's when I present it. But it just seems like a really weird trend. From what I understand, some stories have come out saying that it was a promotional thing for, I don't know if it was Insidious Chapter 3 or the Poltergeist film. I don't think it was a Poltergeist film, but there was another horror movie that's coming out, and it's a great marketing ploy, but that's as far as it goes in my opinion. I don't think there's anything truly paranormal about it. The danger, unfortunately, behind it is that unknowingly, in the paranormal world, when you call upon spirits or entities to interact with you, you're essentially opening yourself up to invite other spirits or other entities without your knowledge, especially those that are not privy to all the paranormal stuff in our field. They could open themselves up to haunts that they are not prepared for, and the results of them could be positive, they could be negative. Now, when you're someone that is not used to dealing with the paranormal and all the weird things that come with it, it's jarring. So those people that are doing the Charlie Charlie challenge just need to stop, really. And you could be causing harm. So it's just, I guess some people in regards to the Charlie Charlie challenge say it's a modern form of Ouija, which is valid. I mean, even pendulum use, or you use a pendulum to try and get information from spirits. I mean, that's Charlie Charlie challenge is a much more simplified version of Ouija or pendulum use. But in my opinion, I would rather stick to the more solid pieces of equipment being used to capture evidence of paranormal activity and communicate with spirits. The Charlie Charlie challenge, unfortunately for me, is not something I want to move forward with or even try in the future. Some of you might enjoy that and like using this method of communicating with spirits. Personally, I won't even participate in it, but to each their own. I'm just giving you my views and my thoughts on it, and that's the best that I can do on my end. I know that myself and my wife, we won't be doing that at all, and hopefully this Charlie trend just disappears because the paranormal world really needs to get back to the basics of paranormal investigating. Now I know what you're thinking. This guy's only been doing it for 2 years, and what does he really know about the paranormal world? Well, again, I have experienced a lot of paranormal activity within my first 2 years doing this. And I like to think of myself as someone that takes a step back and really analyzes every possible thing before considering something truly paranormal. Those are my thoughts on it, and that's just my view on this whole thing. So let's move forward here. Okay, so I want to try something new, something different. And I was discussing this earlier when I was talking about the Ghostwriter page that I have on hauntedmario.com. And like I said, it features different writings such as blogs, creative writings, ghost stories, and other things like that. So I have recently, and by recently I mean I just finished this yesterday, I have recently written a new creative piece of writing. I called it Haunt. I know, very simple title, but I do pride myself in my writing. I've been writing for almost 15 years now that I've been writing just little poems here and there, short stories and such. But I wanted to share this newest piece of writing with all of you. It's something that I rarely ever do, and that's basically create an audio version of the pieces of writing that I have. So this piece again is called Haunt, and just keep an open mind about it, and I think you'll like what you hear. Alright, here we go. This pathway was exhausted by hurried pacing. Sunbeams glistened like shards of sequined cloth over the wooded tree line. I could see at the crest of the hills behind the forest the light of dawn breaking through, providing a wondrous starlight and the snow-capped reflections I observed. It had been long since passing that place. Spring life, summer heat, and autumn storm had aged it in its lone foundation. Even then, in the winter chill, I could see the metallic decay through the frost. Planted firm and yet broken down in the ragged lawn that adorned the boundaries of that place, a lone well stood idle. This proverbial fountain had long since lost its fervor to quench. Still, in its crumbling carapace, its cracked pail and its watery contents spilled forth in shimmering, icy, diamond entrails. Like a metronome, I paced outside the gates, each boot making its mark in the snow, crunching leaves, plowing a melted detour that ended where it began. A quick glance into the woods revealed a creeping mist between the trees that slithered as it slowly trudged over the highland. Moments passed and my escaping thoughts led me to finally open that gate. The pathway to the front door of this aged manor was a short one, yet with each daunting step, an otherworldly wave of push and pull made the brief trip demanding. Finally, I reached the ornate door, and with warm breath and a swipe across the window pane, revealed nothing to a curious scanning eye. It was then that I, in stifled doubts, turned the chiseled decorative doorknob. The rusted iron door screeched in a shrilling cacophony of echoes through the entryway. You could tell by its banshee wails it had not stretched its aging hinges in years. Inside, among the neatly dispersed decor, the wintry breeze was biting as it swept through the open entry. A simple shiver, a turn of gaze, and a push of the door quickly halted any further wind chill. The door slammed with an acoustic reverberation that rang around and around until silence greeted me once more. In the adjacent room I could see dim streaks of light entering through the cracks in the torn curtains that adorned the windows. Within each streak a flurry of dust, twisting and turning in chaos, caused by a wind of fury that had not entered in ages. Heel-toe, heel-toe, heel-toe. Each step was a stir of echoes over the neatly lined planks of the wooden floors. As I ventured further into this manor, I realized that sound was truly a curse in this forgotten kingdom of stillness. I came upon a worn-down table, its sheen now a pastoral and splintering eyesore. Upon it were several writings now censored in blotches of black, the result of spilled ink with the consequence of undisclosed thoughts. Words such as time and tomorrow made their sparse appearance, but only one phrase caught my attention: the way to dusty death. Oh, the irony of such a phrase in this place! I grimaced at the idea of what the author had in mind so long ago. I attempted to examine this page further, peering deeply into the spilled ink, hoping to read more, but more was never on the agenda. No, no, as I lowered the fragile page down toward the table, to my amazement and darkened wonder, there sat a man. But I am alone, frozen in place, but surely I entered alone. My heart tremored with adrenaline as I gazed upon this spectral figure. He paid no attention, nor turned to stare to me, but his eyes were coal, and his face of stoic concentration. "Excuse me, good sir," I managed to speak. "Are you lost?" His eyes did not turn. Again, I braved the question, "Sir, can I help you?" His eyes did not turn. "Is this your home?" Oh, but why did I continue to interrogate? His eyes did not turn. "If this is not your home, sir, then you are most assuredly trespassing." His eyelids twitched, and slowly his eyes narrowed their gaze toward mine. Oh, what a void, like staring into the abysmal darkness of an ocean trench. And still he did not speak. Slowly, he reached out his arm and hand, expressing a gesture inviting me to sit. To my surprise, the chair nearest me pulled back of its own volition. I cautiously sat down, but not before he had suddenly vanished into nothingness. Nowhere to be seen, no sound to be heard, yet laying upon the table in front of me a single page, its message etched in beautiful calligraphy: "And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death." A simple smile crept upon me as I softly whispered, "Macbeth." It was then that I understood. It was then that I left in peace, never to return, and never again left to wonder. Some haunts need no explanation. Okay, that does it for that piece of writing. Thank you all very much for listening. When I initially started writing it, I intended it to be sort of a third-person view of experiencing a obscure haunted location out in the middle of the woods. And I initially started writing this months and months ago, and the idea, of course, was going to be that it was going to just be a simple description of a haunting, or experiencing a haunting alone. But when I went back to write the rest of it, I realized that it wasn't fulfilling enough to just write about a simple experience of a generic haunting. I wanted it to have more meaning, and I chose the famous monologue from Shakespeare's Macbeth. Took a small portion of that, the way to dusty death, and integrated it into the writing. essentially this person that has ventured to this weird location out in the middle of nowhere or off the beaten path encounters this spirit who has these writings spread all out over the table. And you're kind of led to believe that the author was writing something dark, but you come to find out after the main character reads the complete line that it's just a page taken out of the Shakespearean play Macbeth. So I thought that was very interesting to put a nice little spin on that, give it a lot more meaning to the writing. And when I write, I like to paint a picture, the surroundings, really capture that ambient scenery all the way around. Create an experience, in other words. So if you like that, I'll be posting it up on the webpage under Ghostwriter, and you can go ahead and read it in its entirety to get a better feel of it. So if you enjoyed it, let me know on the Facebook page. If you didn't enjoy it, what can I tell you? I'm a writer. That's what I do. So anyway, moving on, the last subject that I wanted to talk about is my up-and-coming guest appearance on My Darkest Hour, hosted by Stefan Brigatti on liveparanormal.com. I know a lot of you that are in the paranormal world and like to listen to these podcasts have heard of Stefan Brigatti. He's well known in the paranormal community. Very great guy, so I'll be on his show on June 11th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can go to liveparanormal.com and look for his show page called, again, My Darkest Hour, and you can listen in live. And we're just going to discuss basic topics of the paranormal, what got me into the paranormal, and some of my ghost stories and such. So it's going to be a great experience. I'm looking forward to it. Stefan Brigatti, I've investigated with him multiple times at various locations. He's a great guy, and I'm honored that he has chosen me to be a guest on his show. So a lot to look forward to, and a lot more to come on the web page. I'll be uploading content almost on a weekly basis, so you'll get a podcast probably once or twice a month now instead of weekly. And then I'll upload all of the other topics and content onto the web page, throughout the month. And the Facebook Haunted Mario page, that will be updated daily with just content all the way around. So thank you all for the support and listening to this podcast. And you guys have been great. All those that have liked the Haunted Mario page, thank you very much. I will continue to bring you tons of content and updates on everything that I'm doing in the paranormal world. I'm very happy and very content with what I am doing and the journey that I'm taking in the paranormal world. It brings me great joy to meet new people who have the same passion for this field that I do and the same interest and curiosity. Once again, thank you very much. This is the 4th episode. I plan on doing many, many, many more podcasts. I'm very excited about what to expect in the future. And thank you again for letting me give you insight into all things paranormal. And just as always, happy hauntings.